afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Zon Academy. Today we have Paolo Lubrano here from Implant Concierge. Paolo's an MDT, and he's going to be doing something really great with us today, a live demonstration. His workflow, his way on finishing Rodin Titan restorations featuring Rodin Palette 2.0 and their nitrogen-free glaze, which is a new product. So we're so excited to have you here, Paolo. Thank you for joining us again here on Zon Academy.
Thank you for having me, and this is a pleasure for me to do it. As a lot of people know, I'm a huge fan of Rodin Palette 2.0. I'm a huge fan of Rodin Titan and Sculpture 2.0 as I've used them personally, and they're just awesome products.
Well, we love having you here, and our attendees sure as love having you here. We have a record amount of registrations and attendees here for Paolo's presentation. We will be launching some poll questions. I just want to let you all know that probably during the demonstration. So if you wouldn't mind just answering those questions that Paolo had prepared for us, and there'll also be a Q&A at the end. So get your questions ready, and we'll be happy to answer them. But now I'm going to turn this over to Paolo, and I want everybody to enjoy. Thank you.
All right. Well, first, thank you everyone to join me today. Um, I'm very excited, and when I got the news that there were over 170 people registered for this webinar, I got even more excited. So hopefully you're all going to enjoy, and let's move along. All right, so as I said before, Rodin Titan, Rodin Palette, and N2-Free Glaze. And I'm going to show you a couple of things, very cool things. I have one slide about the N2-Free Glaze where I think it's a game changer in our industry, whether you're a clinician or you're a dental lab technician. Titan has been one of the strongest resins I've used in the past since it came out. And I think it came out 3 years ago now. And I fell in love immediately. The best part about that is that it is radio opaque. So when you take an X-ray of the titanium bar, you put Rodin Titan on top of it, you can see the teeth, you can see everything. Versus other type of resins, it's completely transparent. You need to do a combing. You don't have a denture, you have this hybrid. If you have it with Rodin Titan, the combing will pick it up. And actually it looks pretty good. Obviously, it depends on the type of combing you have, how new it is, but that's a different story. All right, so today I'm gonna introduce myself a little better first, and then I'm gonna start my presentation. So I grew up in Perugia, it's in Italy. I spent the first 25 years of my life in Italy, and then I moved to the United States in 2012. And I always fell in love with the lab industry. I never really liked the venture part, I gotta be honest with you. Matter of fact, I always pull the joke that DMD stands for do not make dentures. And here I am, I do make dentures eventually. But I work for Implant Concierge, and I'll explain what Implant Concierge and who they are in the next slide. And this is my little hometown. I used to sit down in front of that fountain almost every day in the summer, and spring, fall, winter. There it's probably like a fall here, so it's not really that cold for American standards. But in the summer, it gets extremely hot to a point where you can't even stand anymore. But that's where you used to study all the time, basically. Spare time, I'm a big triathlete fan. I roughly do about 3 Ironmans per year, give or take, and a bunch of other small triathlons and some swim meets as well, some run races. So yeah, I'm very, very active, as you can tell. Implant Concierge. I started working for Implant Concierge on September 2024, and I've been loving it. It's been we specialize in guided surgery, which is big thing on my field, a big thing on my career. As I do speak a lot about guided surgery as well. How this tissue sculpting and that kind of things. And when I use tissue sculpting, I have used denture base 2.0 from Rodin, and it works beautifully. And we partner with laboratories, dental offices, both at the same time. So we partner with everything, and we just help people that wants to try or get involved into guided surgery. Pac-Dent. Pac-Dent has been in the field for a long time now, and they do they have a full range of dental products that goes from dental resins to even chair side equipment or chair side supply that you need for hygienists, dental and dentists, and all that kind of things. So it's actually they have a variety of things, and it's very cool products. And then the digital workflow for Rodin. All right, so we have Rodin Titan, which is one of my favorite things. Oh, sorry about that. Rodin Titan and Sculpture 2.0. The differences is that, and I'm going to show you in a little bit too, the difference is that one is actually meant for hybrids and the other one is meant for front and bridge. The denture base 2.0, I remember when it first came out and I tried it and I glazed it. I was like, wow, this is rock solid. I ran over my car. I launched it across the room at the wall. It did not break. Eventually I did break it, but you know, after throwing it at the wall for a few times, it does break. The N2-Free Glaze is a game changer, and I'll show you later. And the soft reline kit is also another phenomenal product that you can use for your denture reline. After you have full mouth extraction, you can pick up hybrids, cylinders with a soft reline, and it works great. When you use a soft, let's jump in further. Titan has a different shades, phenomenal strength. You're looking at 50+% ceramic filled in Titan, and that's why that's why it's also very, very dense. You have to make sure you heat it up before you print it, and I believe it's 35 Celsius it has to go, and then you can start printing it. Otherwise, there's a chance if a printer doesn't get to that temperature, there's a chance that it might get you might get a misprint. We don't want that. The Sculpture 2.0 is a little stronger than Titan. I don't really like using this product for hybrids, mostly because I like that flexure strength that Titan has compared to the Sculpture 2.0. 2.0 is a little stronger. I will use it for a full mouth rehab for front and bridge all day long. I would definitely use that. 3-unit bridge, single unit, all day long. And I know there's some clinicians that have used the Sculpture 2.0 for the past couple of years, and they've been documenting cases on how it works, not how it works, sorry, how the wear and tear basically, how it works for a long time, and it's been working really, really nice. Unfortunately, I do not have that documentation, but I know some people do have it, and they speak really highly about that. The Denture 2.0, it's it's a denture base. It's a denture resin, comes in a different kind of colors, but it's a strong one. It's a really, really strong. It's not dense. It's really easy to use. It's really easy to glaze it. You want to just polish it, that's perfectly fine. And the kicker is that you can use the N2-Free glaze to glue those teeth into that denture, and I'll show you as well. This is one of the cases that I've done in the past. I think it's about a year old, this case now. And I printed with Rodin 2.0, Rodin Denture Base 2.0, and the teeth were Sculpture 2.0. I think I ended up doing a C2 on that one. So I had to put a lot of gray, a lot of colors to make it look gray because I only had A2 at a time. What I ended up doing with this is I've used the Rodin palette in order to achieve that color. I could have just polished it and call it a day, or just glaze it, cure it, call it a day. I decided to use some color just to mimic a little more natural looking tissue and deliver to the patient. The N2-Free. the N2-Free, as I mentioned before, I truly believe this is a game changer in our industry. You don't need to polish it. You don't need anything. You just apply it and you cure it. Now, the kicker of this though is that you can read over here. Let's see if this, you can see that it says zirconia. I tried it. I was blown away. It works beautifully on zirconia. And this is a zirconia hybrid that I did, and I used N2-Free Glaze and cured it and delivered it. Tissue responding well. Everything is responding really nice to this one, to the N2-Free. Now, the N2-Free is a little dense liquid. In order to, when you apply it, you're gonna make sure to apply it thin, because if you apply it really thick, you're going to lose all the anatomy, you're going to lose all the mamelons, all the texture that you put on that hybrid, or teeth, or denture, or anything. So when you're applying the N2-Free, make sure to apply it thin. Don't worry about not being shiny enough. It will get shiny eventually because you can apply a second coat. And in my experience, if you overglaze, if you overcure with the zirconia, I didn't have any issues. And I cured it a couple times just to see how it works. Versus if I do a printed one, if I overcure it, that thing is gonna go from an A2 to an A4. So with zirconia, you have a little more flexibility with that. And again, we all know as technicians, we all know that a zirconia hybrid in the oven, it's at least an hour 10, an hour and 15 cycle. It needs slow cool, it needs slow rise. It has to be really, really slow. It takes time. It's very time consuming. This one took me 20 minutes in total. So it's actually really good. This is actually show off what the N2-Free can do from the before and after. It's Palette 2.0, which if you've seen me in Chicago, I was standing at the Zon booth all Saturday basically, and just to show off how this works. It has a lot of colors, and each color they're fantastic. And I'm not going through all colors today, but I will show you what I normally use most oftentimes. And what I also, so I'm gonna show the basic colors that I use for tissue. I will show you two techniques that I've used for tissue. One that is a little more time consuming, and the other one is gonna be if you have a patient in the chair, you need something quick, we'll throw some paint there and call it a day. Versus if you want to be a little more particular with the color, then we'll do it. But I will show you both ways. And the soft reline, as I mentioned before, is something fantastic. One thing that I recommend with the soft reline, with the Rodin soft reline, is that you need to make sure to rough it up really good, that denture. If you don't rough it up, it's not going to stick onto the denture. So rough it up really good and use that bonding agent that is right here. Apply that, let it dry, and start going. And then apply your soft reline. It's a 1-in-1 piece. You need a little gun to do it, and it works perfect. And then the best part is also this doesn't smell, and from what I heard, it doesn't taste either. I haven't tried it in my mouth, honestly, but there's no smell. Like if you get Co-Soft, or if you get Co-Soft smells horribly. It works wonders, but it smells. That was one of the biggest complaints that I remember when I worked chairside, that a lot of patients would complain and say, "Oh, this smells horrible." It's like, this one doesn't smell, and it works nice. And I did say before, we can also use it to pick up your cylinders on hybrids, which also works really nice. Again, you're gonna make sure that you rough it up, apply the bonding agent, let it sit, and move forward. Also, I do apologize if you hear any dogs barking. I do not control their barks. If they see something outside, I'm sorry. They're not in the room, but they're outside my office. All right, if you guys want to take a picture of this, and you can scan the QR code, you get a free hands-on guide and a sample of the Glaze N2-Free today. I'm gonna give another minute. Then if you didn't take a picture, let me know. I can go back later on and pull this back up. And as well as this one, please. I'll give it another minute. Then I'm gonna start with the hands-on. All right. Okay.
I have a couple colors here. As you can see, I have the pink, red, cream, violet, and blue. Blue, normally I use it for my translucency. Red and pink, and purple or violet is for my tissue. I would also have a little tube saying pink and red pink actually, but for some reason I cannot find it today, so I'm just going to mix these two and call it a day and work it like that. So my initial step, obviously, I would highly recommend to use the auto flash if you have it. You do not need the nitrogen hookup because the N2-Free glaze, you don't need it. It's N2-Free. So my first step is coat my prosthesis, my prototype, in N2-Free glaze. Now, what I recommend here is not to use, not to go heavy with the glaze. You don't want to destroy the anatomy, the texture that you put on. So, like you see, I didn't put a lot. I'm just move that glaze around, like here in the proxima, for instance. And if I have a little excess of glaze, I'm going to wipe it on my glove. Wear gloves all the time, by the way. Safety, always first. Since I'm doing some characterization on the teeth, I'm going to add a little bit on the lingual of these interiors. And I'm not going to put it too much, but you should be able to coat everything. Now, I'm not going to coat the whole prosthesis in glaze just because this is a demo. It's not going in mouth. It's pretty flat. But it's just to show you off how to do it. Now, if you're using the auto flash, I recommend using at least 1,000 flashes for the first glaze. I do not have an auto flash, but I'm just going to use my Asiga for about 120 seconds. And but for the auto flash, I would use at least between 1,000 and 1,500. You don't want to maximize. You don't want to go over 4,500 flashes when you're doing your curing. You want to make sure to glaze while curing. And the way I've been doing is I do 500 flashes for each color that I'm doing. So I know I'm going to have at least 1,000 flashes left for my final cure. But if you think you can do, you need a lot of colors, and you're reaching close to 4,500 flashes, I would strongly suggest to do at least 400 flashes. That gives you an extra 100 flashes basically for each color. The reason why for the color, it needs to have at least 400 flashes in order to cure properly. I do 500 because it's easier for me to count to 4,500, honestly. I've never been great at math, so for me, that's easy. So I do 1,500 flashes for my first coat, then 500 for each color. And when I do my final set cure is another at least 1,000 flashes or whatever it's remaining for the 4,500 flashes. So if I'm at let's say with the colors and the first cure, if I'm at 2000 flashes, I go, if I have, if I leave 2000 flashes, then I'm going to use that last 2000 flashes for my final set cure. And again, you do not need nitrogen, and this product is a game changer in our industry. You can glue teeth onto the denture base. You can glaze your denture. It's pretty phenomenal. It works on zirconia as well. I tried it in Emacs. I haven't been so successful with Emacs, probably because it was my fault, but zirconia has been working really nice. So now I have my coat of glaze, and now I'm going to start adding some color. So let's do it together. I'm going to use my violet first. That's my first step. So I'm going to squirt some of the material in. You don't need a lot, honestly, just a little bit. And what I recommend is use 1 drop of the N2-Free. The reason why you want at least a little drop on the N2-Free is because you don't want just the color itself, its paste. So it is going to leave some texture. It won't be as smooth. And so that's what I recommend doing. So I'm going to mix it with the glaze. And then I'm going to start, see, that's a little too much there, right? So I'm going to go wipe it off. It just needs to be a very light coat. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need anything crazy for your first coat of purple for your base of the tissue. And if you want to start doing your characterization on your teeth here, that's totally okay as well. I tend to do it later, but that's totally up to you, honestly. So I see that towards the centrals, there's not enough. It doesn't have to be heavy, but you still want to see it, that you did something. So if it's too light, then I would add a little more. I'm using the big brush, but you can use whichever brush you're comfortable with. I do like this big brush that comes with the kit, actually. And you can use, if you tilt it like this, you can go between papillas. It's quite nice. Once you're satisfied, let's do a little more. Once you're satisfied with this, then you're just going to put it back in the auto flash. And remember, if you have the auto flash, it's 500 flashes. Okay. If you don't have the auto flash, you can still use a different kind of light curing. But like I said before, the auto flash is your ultimate beast, is a gold standard in 3D printing world nowadays. So I would strongly suggest to invest into the auto flash. I do not know the price, but it's a great investment. And if you want the nitrogen hookup for other kind of resins like night guards, for the candy coat technique, then you can do that. But for this kind of procedure, you really don't have to. All right, the next step I'm going to mix the red and pink tubes. Let's do a little more. That didn't come out right. There you go. All right, red and pink. If you want to use just the red, that's also totally fine. I personally don't recommend it. One of my first tries when I did the red, when I put the red on the tissue, I was so happy how it looked. Then I got the little bit in the mouth. It was way too red. It looked like this patient had period disease. So let's remove this, and now that's what I have. I have a nice coat of violet. Now I already put a drop of glaze on my mixture of red and pink. So I'm just gonna mix it well. Now, what I like to do is I start from the bottom. See, that's a little way too red. But we can work it out. See, that's way better. And what I do is just coat the whole thing, every single aspect of the tissue. One thing that I like about this brush also is that I can create quote unquote texture on the tissue. Like if you haven't done some stippling on the tissue, then you can sort of mimic that with this brush just by tapping. So it's quite nice. All right, critical point. I put some red on my tooth. Now, this is not the end of the world because it's not a real case, but if it was a real case and you're in a rush, don't panic. Unless you cure it, you don't have to panic. If you cure it, I still wouldn't panic, but you would have to grind it off. So you would have to remove it. So with this, I'm just gonna do with this, and there you go. I removed it. Now let's go back to this one. If you're starting off and you realize, hey, I just put too much, I want to start over, don't worry about it. Just what I would do is grab some tissue like this, dip it in alcohol, IPA, and remove everything. Let it dry and go from there. But when you're doing IPA, you got to be very, very careful. It has to be very fast, and it can't be too much IPA also, because you don't want to have that chalkiness that it comes out after for post-processing. And I'm going to go over that in a little bit after I'm done with this. So again, I'm going to go over the papillas. We all know that towards the CJ, there's normally a little less, it's not as heavy, but it's definitely a little darker towards the bottom, right? There's a couple ways that you can do it. Honestly, there's not, this is the way I do it. This is the way I like to do it. If I had a patient in the chair and I was doing this, then I would approach differently. I wouldn't be as I would probably just do a couple brushes here and there and call it a day, because the patient is in the chair, is waiting. It's been a long day, long time, long surgery. So that's what I would do if I was in the chair. But since it's if you're just doing it for the next day, I would spend some time and make it a little pretty, So again, I'm gonna keep going like this, and add some more material, more chroma on my tissue. Then once I'm satisfied, I'm gonna call it, and I'm gonna put it back in my curing. I've always loved the red. Honestly, I know I probably said that before. I'm sorry, but I've always loved that. It's been my favorite color for tissue, and it can be very dangerous. All right, once I'm satisfied, I'm gonna put it back in the box. I don't do the full cure for this box because it will over cure. So let's talk about curing. Rodin Titan, Sculpture 2.0, and they're really critical. You have to read the instruction that comes with it. And most of the times you cannot wash an IPA. Like for instance, your nightcare material like Keystone Soft or Keystone Soft, Keystone Hard, whatever it is, oftentimes you have to put it in the wash and in IPA for at least 2.5 minutes or something like that. Rodin, you can't. You have to dip it for like a second, less than a second, and repeat that movement each time. I recommend having a hair hose next to your washing station. So you're going to dip your Rodin Titan prosthesis or Sculpture 2.0 prosthesis in the IPA. Remove it immediately. Grab the arrows, insert it. spraying it, start drying it off. Oftentimes you're using it, most of the times I assume you're going to be using it for hybrids, right? So you have screw channels, it can be angle screw channels, it can be straight screw channels, it doesn't matter. However, it matters when you're trying to clean off the excess of material, of resin inside the screw axis hole. You do not want to cure it, because then your screw is not going in, and then you have to reprint it and do over again. It's a waste. So what I recommend is get a Q-tip and just use that Q-tip, or a micro brush as well. Dip that micro brush in your IPA and just go over that screw axis hole, and that helps out. If you have a hair hose, that also helps a lot. Grab that and start spraying that air all over the place until it's completely dry. If you feel that it's still a little tacky, go back with your in IPA and do it again until it looks nice. But it shouldn't have any white chalkiness. Like for instance, this one here. You see that I put a little, I was borderline. See, I was borderline because you can see the white chalk here. So I put a little too much. But I just wiped it off because it didn't cure it completely. So let's do it. Let's redo this one. So that's what I would do. I would recommend doing your IPA 1 second, 2 seconds each time. I know some people have used a very soft brush as well. You can still use that. It works. And but I wouldn't leave it in the IPA for more than a couple seconds. Not more than a couple seconds. How to remove this 3D print of your build plate. So I know a lot of people like to use the scrape, the knife plate that it comes with most printers. I hate that, honestly, and the reason is because there's oftentimes when you start scraping it off from the build plate, there's a chance that that metal sharp object that you're holding with your right hand or left hand is going to snuck out of the build plate, and it might hit your finger. Then you're going to go get a couple of stitches. It has happened before. I have personal experience with that. I have 4 stitches on my thumb many years ago. And ever since that accident, I've been using clippers. And they were like $7, $8 off Amazon. And you just snip it and pull it like a Velcro, basically. It works perfect every single time. And also, cutting those supports with the clipper is actually way better than grabbing a burr and start destroying all your anatomy. There's a chance you're still going to ruin the anatomy a little bit because the supports are pretty much everywhere, but it's way better than using an actual burr, whether it's an acrylic burr or diamond burr, disc, anything. All right, so that's better. So if you're okay with this, what we can do is let's do some of the blue. Let's do some translucency. You don't need a ton, and what I would do here is I would probably try to use a little, just like that. I think that should be enough. If not, we can always go back and add some more glaze. Always have a tissue next to you because it's always helpful to have it. All right, what I would do for this is just be careful because the blue is very, very blue. Like it's extremely translucency. And it can look very unnatural oftentimes. So see it like that. I had to wipe it off because it was too much. So the thing that I would do is, make sure that you're not applying too much. Something like that should be fine. And the other thing that I you can do, if you want some more translucent, you can also add it a little bit on the lingual. And that's why I glazed the lingual of this. Now this tooth is pretty thick, but if it wasn't thick, it will most likely gonna show off. The kit comes with a variety of possible possible things that you can use for your translucency. It has a black option. Black, I will use it for A3s mostly, honestly. It works beautiful, but that's what I will use it for. Cream can work really nice if you have to do a halo translucency. That works. That's the only one that I actually kind of like, to be honest with you. And the same thing, actually, I'm going to use it from over here. One thing that I strongly recommend also when you're doing this, I would strongly recommend to have a little glass. It can be plastic glass or it can be actual glass, but with IPA in it, so you can wipe your brush off and clean it, dry it off, so there's no cross contamination between each color. If this was a real case, that's what I would have done, but it's not the end of the world if it's not a real case. So just like in porcelain, right, you can create the halo. Just by applying very, very, very light. It doesn't have to be super that much. Now, what I'm seeing though is that I applied too much blue. So I'm gonna try to wipe it off or disperse a little more. That's a little better. Same thing here. I can do my translucency. If you want to be a little more creative as well, we can add some orange brown on in a proximal. So let's do that. You can use an endo file here. That works fine as well. I don't have any endo file, but I've been using the little tiny brush that comes with the kit, and I think it's been working pretty good, honestly. So we'll add some chroma, some color in a proximal to mimic the depth of the tooth, right? Just like that. And what I like to do after I'm done with this is I like to add some more of my red and pink mixture and put in between so I can get more of that papilla that I missed before with the big brush. And pretty much anywhere that I missed, really, because it looks like I missed a couple of spots as well. So let's finish that. Let me use this brush. What I like to do also is try to create some depth on my between on the tissue so it doesn't look that uniform. See, I put a little too much there. I'm just gonna keep wiping it off. So I like to do it over here. I'm gonna keep adding it on my papillas. When you apply with the brush, don't go heavy with the brush, just very light striation, layering techniques. Don't go too heavy. All right, so now we're gonna do another cure. So let's take a look at this denture also. This is one of the demo that I did a couple weeks ago, and you can see that I actually glued the teeth on my onto the base, and it's rock solid. This is not coming out. The chemical bond chemical bond between the N2-Free and the base is rock solid. This is not gonna come off unless you grab a set of pliers and destroy the whole thing. Now you can certainly glaze this. You can add the same mixture that I had here and you start applying it after you do your set of glaze. You can also, what you can do is, let's say you're gluing the teeth, you can do a set glaze all around on your first curing So on that 1500 flashes that you're doing with the auto flash, you can certainly add up and add the whole glaze everywhere. So that's what I'm doing here. I mean, this was already, I already cured this. I didn't cure the whole thing. You can see the teeth and the palette. I didn't cure it. I didn't glaze it, sorry. But I glazed pretty much everywhere else. And you can, I would suggest to, I would probably suggest to use your software design, whether it's 3Shape, Baxicad, or Real Guide, for your to mimic a better papillas, a better tissue. If you're not sure how to do it in the software, that's fine. You can just grab a burr, a diamond burr, acrylic burr, and start. Well, acrylic burr would be better, honestly, and start your contouring, tissue contouring. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so let's say we're happy with this. Okay, now let me get a brush, and I'm going. What I'm going to do is I am going to glaze it. When you glaze it, don't put too much glaze because it's going to be. It has to be a very light glaze, just like in porcelain, right? So in porcelain, you have to put a little, very faint glaze. Otherwise, it's going to ruin your anatomy. And same thing if you're doing your, it's the same concept for meal, for instance, right? If you put too much glaze, it's going to bubble up on, not bubble up, but it's going to be on your, it will ruin your anatomy, your texture, it will disappear. Versus if you put a very light coat, then you're getting a nice texture. And it's the same concept here. It's really the same exact concept. All right, so now I have my prosthesis. Remember, I added some translucency and some halo on number 8. I did not add halo on 7. And I put an proximal stain to make it look 2 different teeth, basically, instead of being all one. Probably a little too much, maybe, but it's all right. It's all right. All right, so let's get rid of that. I'm going to put this in. I'm going to definitely over-cure this, but the color, it's not the end of the world for this one. All right, so now we have this one. There it is. We have a denture. What we can do with the denture now is we can do pretty much anything, right? You can glaze it. You can, if you like it like this, then you don't. Just put a coat of glaze and call it a day. Let's say you want to add some more, or you want to be a little darker, you can certainly do that. So let's grab this. Let's start putting some purple. If you mix purple and the red, it will give a darker color on your tissue. So it will look, a different kind of pigment basically on the color. The Rodin comes in different colors as well for the base, denture base. They have a light, they have a standard one, they have a darker one. So they're all, if you have a lot of patients with the darker tissue, then you can use that kind of Rodin base 2.0. Or if you want the standard one and then just stain it up, that's also totally fine. Just make sure to follow the instructions when it's 4,500 flashes. That's one thing that I like about Pac-Dent Rodin. It's that all their resins are 4,500 flashes max. So that's actually quite nice when it comes to staining and glazing, because you don't have to worry about, oh, what is the max that you can do. There's a lot of resins out there. Onyx, Bago, Flexera, I think it's still around. Flexera, I believe. Flexera is I believe it was 2 times 3,000 flashes. Bago, I believe, is 4,000 flashes or 3,000 flashes. I don't remember now. So every resin is different. But the best part about Rodin is that all the resins are 4,500 flashes for the prototype, though, and dentures. I'm not sure about the Rodin splint. I really don't do a lot of night cards, to be honest with you. Their surgical guys also is a little different as well. But when it comes to prosthesis, they're all the same. They're all 4,500 flashes. All right, so now that's our prototype. If you feel that it's still a little tacky and it's not as smooth, then you have to add some more glaze. You have to cure it again. This is not tacky, luckily. But with the auto flash, you shouldn't have any issues with 4,500 flashes. Anything that goes in the mouth should honestly be your auto flash, because it's the standard procedure. It works awesome. It's the best light curing in the industry. One thing that I was asked before is that what happens if I'm delivering a prototype, I see this canine is a little too bulky, it's a little too far out. What can I do without destroying the glaze? Well, not much, obviously, right? You have to take it down. The best part is that you take it down, you remove the glaze. I get it. It happens. We've had it happen. I've seen it many times. But what you can do is grab the light curing light that you have at chair side, apply it, and cure it. My recommendation is cure in the under turbo. So I believe that's about 2,500, 3,500, give or take. And cure for about 20 seconds. 20, 30 seconds should do the trick. If you're not using turbo, it should be a lot longer than that. And it also depends on the frequency. If it's 1,200, 2,000, 1,200, I believe that's the normal one, but not turbo one. So I would do at least a minute, and that will give you a nice set cure for the glaze. All right, so that was it. That was the demonstration for the Rodin Sculpture 2.0, Rodin Titan, Rodin Palette Kit 2.0 also, and the fantastic N2-Free glaze. As I said before, it's a game changer for me, because I've also used it for zirconia, and I've had great success on zirconia. I have one case with the N2-Free glaze. for a full upper hybrid, and it's been in mouth for at least 6-7 months right now, and I'm documenting it, taking a look at it. I have my doctor looking at every time the patient comes back for hygiene appointments and check the glaze. So far, it's been rock solid. And the fact that you can glue the teeth onto the base is also phenomenal. And that was it. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or one of the Zon's representative. We're happy to help you. And I hope you enjoyed this demonstration, and I'll be available.